Listen, the show will go on. We will be 2-3 minutes late, but the show will go on. What it do, folks? Team No Sleep. I'm James. Don't worry about me. The guy over to the side of me, Montel Allen. What's happening with you, man?
Man, blessed as usual, man. I
Yeah,
cannot complain at all. Enjoying this Midwest weather out here in Chicago, so
yeah.
cannot
Oh,
complain.
Chicago, Chi-town.
Yeah, Chi-Town doing this thing out here, man. Great food, great people. Love it out here, man. Cannot complain at all.
Yeah, listen, Chicago, the truth. So shouts out to I don't know where you stand, but hopefully you're close to the Riverwalk, and you out there can go after we get done tonight. Go enjoy some of the nightlife and some of the environment around there. Just don't get lost though, because you can get lost in Chicago. Right. I know. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that right there and just say that. Listen, we got folks popping in. We see you, appreciate you on all the channels for coming. We are still waiting on our guest. Our guest is having some technical issues. So when he joins, listen, speak up. Listen, his hands must have been itching. Just came into the back room right there. Just came into
There
the
we go.
back room. Brother Stark, we see you too as well. Senior, we see you, sir. So the show is about to officially begin. As soon as our guest gets some video, I got him in the green room, but we don't have video yet. Listen, there you go, man. See, I just got to speak it into existence.
There
All
you
I got
go.
to
You got to
do
just
is
talk.
keep,
You got to
you
just
know,
talk them through it. That's all.
I just got to keep speaking into existence. Dan Roth, we see you. Hey, appreciate you, sir, Mr. Roth. Let me go and give you these flowers, man, as well. All the effort and work that you've been putting in, because we want to continue to have some discussions around some topics that Montel and I have been championing for a while. So yeah, I'm in contact with some folks so we can bring on some of those diverse perspectives about some of the things that we've been talking about. So appreciate you, Dan, for putting that wheel in motion, and we gonna make things happen. Chris Stone is in the building. Listen, let me sit up straight. Well, not just because of that, because of the man we got behind the scenes too. I'm gonna shut up. Montel, you tell folks if they don't know who we got coming on the show here tonight, because this man
Absolutely,
right
man.
here.
Our special guest for tonight is a 5-time All Pro Bowler,
Ooh,
All Decade Team in 1990. Graduate from Cal. Probably was spearheaded the Tony Dungy's defense, especially when they implemented the Tampa 2. The man sent from his high school where he's been coaching. I think he sent 4 or 5 guys to the NFL. And most of important on his latest accolade, the man just finished with his master's degree from Cal Berkeley. And he's a good friend of mine. No further ado, let's please introduce Mr. El Dragon, Hardy Nickerson. Let's go.
listen. Before he say something, see, we waiting on them Cal Bears to show up. That's what it was. See, that's why we took so long for them to get here. We waiting on them Bears. Dr. Nickerson, how are you, sir?
Doing well. How are you guys doing?
We
Bless,
well.
man.
We well appreciate you for being here and joining us. Team No Sleep. This community is fans, fanatics, socially aware. They know their sports. They know all of your accolades as well, and they probably taking screenshots right now. They're saying, "Oh Lord," and we got this man on screen. But let's do this. Let's not be remiss. Appreciate you for being here. For folks who maybe don't recall again, Tampa Bay, Jacksonville, Green Bay. Come on, let's keep going down the list. You notice I left one particular one out. I need to go get my terrible towel. It's in the garage though. It's in the this man, y'all play for all of them, but tell folks. So that's what it is right there on the defensive side. Linebacker been doing some magical things. Talk to folks real quick before we go into some discussion. What you're doing today, if you don't mind.
What I'm doing today, I'm head football coach at Bishop O'Dowd High School in Oakland. We've been preparing all summer for our season, and right now we're taking a little downtime before the season actually starts, and our guys have had a good summer, put in some good hard work. We got some players that are gonna, I think they're gonna light it up this year. And I recently graduated, got my MBA UC Davis, and just excited about what's ahead, and just looking at all the options out there. Had a fun time today. Got a chance to spend some time over watching the 49ers practice today, and really just enjoyed just watching some good football.
See, you get an extra set of accolades right there. The man said he an Aggie too. So I'm a Sac State man, but listen, I still got keys to the dorms. Well, okay, let's not deviate. But yeah, shouts out to them UC Davis Aggies over there as well. See, we already got some hecklers in there talking about the Giants could still use you. We gonna leave that alone. We're not gonna bring anything up like that.
The Giants. Oh, wait a minute.
I'm sure your 40 time is still what it needs to be. I'm sure the 40 time is still what it needs to be.
Oh, well, I don't think I can run that fast no more. Now, if it were a distance, I can do the distance, but okay. I can't run the short, the short fast sprints and stuff. But yeah, I might be able to last one down.
Listen, again, folks are already talking about saying they look like you can still suit them up. So you still can still do what you need. You can run a few routes or two. So let's go and get locked in. Let's get focused. Montel, I'm gonna let you lead the discussion. I'm gonna manage the comments and things of that nature. And I always like to interject as well. So yeah. Coach Nickerson, we're gonna talk about probably NIL, sports as it is today. Probably talk a little about the Olympics, but this is just time spent and hanging out with you, and also letting the community engage as well, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Absolutely. Hey, Hardy. So my first question probably for you, and just get your perspective on college football and its current state with the NIL and how things are going. Like, it's got to be difficult because you're a high school coach, and in that transition now, it was hard before, but now it's even much harder now with the NIL, and then now the Power 5 is a little bit different from everybody else, and the lack of Division II schools in California, no NAI schools except for one in California. So how do you look at the plight, the platform of college football right now from your eyes?
I think it's very tough. As far as the recruiting is concerned, I think it's very tough on the high school athlete right now. The way that things are going with the transfer portal, college athletes being able to transfer whenever they want, basically, to whatever program has kind of left. It's really slammed the door on a lot of high school talent that we should be seeing move up to the D1 and D1 FBS and FCS levels, it's just become a totally different ball game. It's really semi-pro football,
Yep.
in my opinion. Because as you look at it, the NIL deals, each school, instead of, now they're offering money to players, and the high school kids that actually are getting offers, they're getting offered money, and schools are having to compete with on that end, which I think is making it super tough. Shoot, with the way that, again, the transfers are going, and then the limited spaces for high school kids, man, it's just tough out there, and it's hard to imagine, or even think about, the path that these young athletes should take, especially if they're trying to break into the college level. I think it in the long run is going to hurt high school sports.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree, and I've been echoing on this show that in the near future, Power 5 is going to divest from NCAA. And the reason why I say that is because Power 5, they're already getting paid. They're getting paid big money. They already own every bowl game, and they own the playoff system. So why are we paying the governing body of the NCAA anything when we can govern ourselves? And I think the only thing that's holding them back right now is figuring out the basketball tournament. Like, how do we still have a competitive NCAA basketball tournament to be able to participate in that? Otherwise, football is already locked. That's already done. They know the big money maker is already set. The next big money maker is men's and women's basketball. Obviously can't divest because there's not 65 teams or a tournament for them to participate in. I think as soon as they figure that out, they're out of the NCAA.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I agree with you because it's just one of those things, they at some point the big schools are gonna basically divest from the NC2A, and it's just a matter of time, I think, because of number one, the money that's at stake, and yes. Well, actually, it's all about the money.
So let me ask you along that line, right? So and this goes with the question right here. How are you at your level, right, preparing your athletes, your student athletes for dealing with the money conversation, right? Dealing with the NIL conversation and still maintaining their grade level, things of that.
Oh, so for me, it's all about the kids that are getting recruited. I'm making them aware that, hey, this is something you need to talk about, because now it's more than just committing to a school or having a favorite school, right? It's about, hey, I went here, I had an official visit, they offered me this amount of money, all right, I went on this visit, I like this school, but they only offer me this amount of money, so it's becoming a money game, and unfortunately, it's knocking out some of those schools that should be favorite schools in favor of the schools that are offering more money and more things to go along with their NIL for their student athletes.
So I'll go one step deeper than that. Do you feel that these kids at the age of 16, 17, and 18 have the capability to make those kind of decisions? Because some of them are making, that's life-changing money, and some of it's, obviously just a little bit of money. But that life-changing money and those opportunities, do you feel they're equipped, and who will they come to get that kind of information to make sure they make the right decision?
I think some might be because of the support system they have with them in terms of family, extended family, or relationships that they have with their coaches and people who have been in this business. But for those that don't have that, oh man, that's a tough one, because they're just looking at dollar signs, right? And sometimes it boils down to even more than just the dollar signs, right? And in terms of where you're gonna go to school and all that. I just remember when I was coming out, and this is this is a long time ago.
You flashing back? You about to flash back on them?
I'm flashing all the way back to 1983,
wow.
82, 83. But it, hey, I was getting recruited and taking the official visits and everything. And at the end of the day, I sat down with my high school football coach, my principal, my parents, and my uncle, and I had three schools I was trying to decide between, and it was at that time it was Arizona State, USC, and Cal, and so they asked me point blank, hey, where do you think you want to spend the rest of your life? And I couldn't think of living any place else, I'm a kid from South Central Los Angeles. I didn't, hey, from Compton, I wasn't thinking about living in any other state at all. So my initial response to that was, hey, I plan to live in California. So that, then that narrowed down my choices. However, if there was money involved back then, oh man, I probably would have taken the money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even though there might have been a better opportunity, like, some schools, young kids or young players, they can walk on campus and have an opportunity to play. Some schools they won't. And it might nowadays it might boil down to, hey, the school that's actually offering you the most money might be a place where you may not get a chance to play.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah. So you got, it's tough for kids now because especially if you don't have that support system around them, because they might find themselves in a bad situation.
Yeah. So even with that being said, so next year in the Power 5, they're eliminating walk-ons and increasing scholarships, right? They're going from, I think, 85 to 105, right? I think they're somewhere around that number, 105.
Yeah.
So with that being said, now the margin's even shrinking, right? Because those 20 extra scholarships are going to go to guys that fell off the radar, that took a full ride, but at the lower division that want to move up, right? The guys that are outstanding MVPs for all the lower levels are going to get now a Power 5 option to come in. I think now that even shrinks it more for high school kids because, the funnel goes down. It doesn't go up, except now in this case it's going to go up because there's more money to be spent. I think now there is no room or margin for development now. It's like you have to be ready now if you want to get a scholarship, especially the Power 5. Power 5, you got to be ready now. I think even below that, non-Power 5 schools, you're pretty much going to have to be ready to compete right now. I'm not going to say start or play, but you got to be in a position where I can compete right now. If somebody goes down, I'm moving on the travel bus, the next man in line to get on the travel bus and can make an impact on special teams during the game.
Yeah.
You feel that? Yeah. I just don't think there's no room for development. So I think that puts more pressure on the high school kids. And where there was that room for development, it's now going to be seeping down to the NAIA Division II level, right? You got to go there and JUCO to go get developed to possibly get to earn your way to move up if that's what you choose to do, or stay where you're at, where you're having success. I just don't know. What do you think about that? You think that room for development is gone, or where do you see it?
Ooh, I think it just makes things even tougher when you start talking about adding more scholarships. Some schools are going to see that like, oh, I can add more portal players.
Mm-hmm.
And so where do they get those portal players? Well, if I'm an FBS school and they're standout players at the FCS level that have proven that they can handle playing at the college level, they're going to go after them. They're going to go after them.
I even think just non-Power 5, right? Not even FCS is going to go. Guys that are non-Power 5 are going to move up now.
Yeah. The group of 5. Yeah, they're gonna see that influx of guys moving up, and then those guys that don't pan out at the Power 5 level, they're gonna be the ones moving up. So it's gonna be oh man.
Yeah. So that eliminates high school kids altogether, and I'm trying to explain to people that's going to eliminate high school kids just about altogether because there's no need, right? If you're not in and you're not already developed, obviously the top echelons of high school kids are going to go. They're always going to go. That top 100 are always going to get themselves to get out of there. I think that level that needed to be developed is going to be hard.
Yeah, and here's the other thing is
I want to hear coach instead of me.
when you're talking about this, the other thing is they're talking about adding adding another signing day to the summer before the kid's senior year. Now, here's the thing: how many kids are ready, right? scholarship ready to sign a letter of intent in June before their senior year. I mean, that's just, to me, that's just mind-boggling, right? Because back in the day, or less than 3 years ago, or even 3 years ago, they were seniors. Recruiters are saying, "Hey, got to see you. Let me evaluate your first 3 games of your senior year, and then then we'll offer you." Man, what happens? My thing is, wow, what happens now with that early signing day? Spots are going to be gone. The seniors that are looking to still earn something, that's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough.
And do you think some kids was forego their senior year, like that kid that went to Texas? I mean, went to Tennessee, that Polynesian quarterback kid. He didn't even play his senior year. He went there to develop. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some kids may opt out. They may opt out.
Yeah.
Or or they may they may try to do the post grad, or some kids might even try to I don't know how they pull it off, but they might even try to get on campus in that summer. It just, you never know what's next.
That's crazy how recruiting has now changed from, I mean, being from back in your day, right, to where it is now, right? Again, where it has to be, and I'm third person looking in right now because it's been a while since I've been on the field, been on the court, but whoever's got the most access to resource, who's ever got that personal coach, that personal trainer, whoever has that kind of access, versus someone who can go through the years in high school, work with a coach like you. Listen, y'all, if y'all don't know, listen, Hardy has been on the list to get the bust for a number of years. He gonna get that bust. So I mean, if I could get that, if I as an athlete could get that kind of tutelage from someone like you, maybe me, third person looking in, I would much rather do that. I know, again, it's a money conversation right now. I've got the possibility of maybe getting injured. I got the possibility of getting lower in the draft or whatever. But man, if I can get under your wing, right? Again, coming up as a quarterback, coming up as a linebacker, as a wide receiver, whatever the case may be, that you can't necessarily put a price tag on that. Again, just different cats here talking, and we see the comments. We're gonna get into it, but man, I wanted to throw that in, man. It's just because, Montel, I know you deal with that as well, and Coach, you're dealing with that on an every single day basis. That just your conversation is different now with some of these young kids who say, you need to look at my max preps, or you need to look at my film. I got film, right? And I need to be starting all that.
You know what's crazy though? What's even crazier is now that, like the state of Florida, high school kids get NIL, and it's coming to California soon. I guarantee you, it's going to be following suit. So now we're going to run to a situation where high school kids could get NIL money as well. That even is going to add another layer on top of everything, because now obviously private schools will have more resources and funds, right, to attract all the players, or all the good talented players, more so than anyone else. But then we're going to have, like I said, NIL is going to start to be the discussion. Now, the caveat is now the pressure with CIF is going to be transfer rule. It's kind of already open as it is now, but it's going to have to open even more with the NIL rule, because money is going to be the drawing factor for everybody. How are you going to tell the kid he can't go play somewhere when the school's going to offer them his family $10,000 a month? If he's that dynamic of a talent. I just think this whole recruiting thing has become a slippery slope, and high school kids are the ones that's going to be asked out when it comes to it.
I don't like that.
I just can't. I just think. I don't know, Hardy. You got a different perspective. Please enlighten me.
Yeah. I think it's just going to be a harder process. At the end of the day, though, I think if and this is what I tell my players, and tell anybody that asks me about this. If you play well, somebody gonna find you.
Yeah.
You know, I think it, but now with all that's in play, the NIL, the transfer portal, now you have to really be exceptional. You know, at the high school level, I think Montel mentioned this a little bit earlier. You have to play. It means that, hey, you know, you have to show something freshman year. You can't wait till
Mm-hmm.
you can't wait till junior year to start playing varsity football. You know,
Yeah.
if you got talent and you can play, hey, you know, you got to start building that resume. You got to get some video. You got to get on tape. That means that process has to speed up. You know, and then you got to show some extraordinary talent. You know, it's if you run, for example, if I'm a defensive back and I also run track and I run my sophomore year I run a 10.6. Oh, and you have some other measurables that kind of stand out. You may not weigh but 150 pounds, but if you're 6 feet tall, you're gonna start getting recruited. You know, but if you show some form of special attribute, I think those players are going to be fine. So it's going to end up streamlining, um, uh, you know, the players that actually, the number of players that actually get to go from the high school level to college level. You're not going to the you know, and unfortunately, some of those guys that are late bloomers, you know, the issue then is going to be where do they fall? You know, do they go to junior college? Is the junior college going to be the same route, or it does it even junior college, do they start to dry up? You know,
I was about to say that. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to start to dry up. Absolutely. I don't think there's I really don't see. It's going to be hard financially for them to sustain, right? For junior colleges to sustain, I believe, especially in the smaller markets, or I should say in the bigger markets, because there's going to be so much to do and there's not enough. They're not going to be recruited. Like if kids are not going to be getting recruited out of JC because there's already a stigma, regardless if people want to believe it or not. When you go to junior college, you already have a stigma. Either you have a grade issue, a fallback, or there's something wrong. There's always something. They feel there's something wrong. And it can be nothing wrong, but there's always something wrong there. Or your development, you got to get developed. So with those stigmas in there, I believe recruiters are going to say, hey, if you're already playing at the collegiate level, which you already know there's things to be said for that Division III NAIA all the way up, you already know the regimen. You know you got to get up in the morning and work out. You know you have to report to practice in the morning. You know you have to keep your grades up. You know you have to do you got time management. You know those intangible attributes you already have. So if I'm a recruiter, why would I get somebody that already has those soft attributes that I need, that I know that's accountable, that I know is going to do, instead of taking a chance on somebody else? Again, if he's an extraordinary athlete or if he has that special attribute, that's a different case. But the average kid that's trying to get in there that can develop a little bit, he doesn't have a chance no more because I'm not recruiting that person at all. There's no need for me to recruit that person. There's no need for me to have the headache anymore as a recruiter. I can go get a kid that was a D2 All-American and bring him up. I know he knows everything. He's going to be excited about being here because it's upper level. I don't have to worry about it at all. He's going to be the guy that's going to be dialed in and give me everything he has. And I'm not a 4-year invested in him no more, a 5-year invested in him. I'm only invested in him at the max, maybe 4 if he was only a red shirt, but I'm sure he played 1 year. So a minimum of 3 years I'm invested in. And if I don't like him, I can cut him because there's no scholarship is guaranteed. They're year to year. So if I don't like him, I can always waive him. It's not traditional, but it's done. It's scholarships year to year. So if he's not developing the way I want to, I throw him back in the pond and give me somebody else. I tell him to go back in the pond. I think it's a cold world for high school kids now, and it's unfortunate because and I'm talking about black and brown men, are going to lose out a lot because that's our outlet. A lot of us are playing sports and playing football in particular because we think that's an outlet to get us out of the conditions we're in, especially when they're in urban areas. That mechanism now is going to be cut off, unfortunately.
And see that conversation right there again, coming from here's
Yeah.
ammunition more to my argument about Coach Nickerson. You coming from Compton, coming from that location, and being who you are and the accolades and things like that. Again, you can't buy that. I would not forego that. I would. Listen. We even got some Ravens fans in the building. So listen, we can talk all we want to. Shout out to Yolanda for being in the building. I know she give me a hard time sometime, but we we let everybody in here, even these Baltimore Ravens fans.
Well, just think about this, man. So when I was coaching at the University of Illinois, uh, I had talked to Montel, saying, Montel, where's some players at? I'm looking for some offensive players, some ballers, man. And he Montel, you remember this? You told me about this kid. You sent me a text. Man, he is lighting it up. He's averaging like over 10 catches a game. Last game, he caught like 15 passes and for like 250, 200, 300 yards. Kid was breaking records. He was off the radar his junior year. Chris Olave.
Yep.
And he was lighting it up. And so I started recruiting him a little bit, and then the big boys moved in. Ohio State. I think Michigan showed up, but this was late in the process. Most of especially for Ohio State, Michigan. So the kid had to have done something big time, man. And you see what kind of player he turned out to be. Imagine today, with the way things are headed, man. A guy like that may not get a chance.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. It just Billy Dunkel, the guy. Remember I gave you Dunkel too, the lineman.
Yep.
Yep. Great player, great high school, great college player, but he was so late to bloom in the radar, right? You got on him super late as well. Just because you didn't know about him, he wasn't on the national radar, which he should have been. He was a big 300-pound kid that can move and very nasty. But those kids now are going to fly even further under the radar because if you're not acknowledged by your, like you said, your sophomore, junior year, it's almost like we're already out of scholarships. We're done. And I've talked to coaches already, especially I talked to a couple of guys I know that's in the Power 5. They're already on 2027 recruits. They're done with 2026. A lot of them. They're already on 2027. They're already moved that far ahead. So you got to be 2 years ahead in your recruiting process, just like you are in your development. You got to show something ASAP to get ready.
Man,
wow. As we are rewriting the rule book. It's bad. We're more about again at the high school level, and I know, Coach, you've been at the professional level and at the college level as well. I want to get to some of these comments that are coming in from folks that are watching. So we actually, where was it? We had a question coming in from Chris Stone asking some of the coaches and some of the mentors that have helped you along the way. Because again, you've got a wealth of knowledge just from your experience, but who do you have on your, I'm not going to call it a Mount Rushmore, but who is it that has helped guide you on some straight and narrow?
I had a few people. My high school football coach, who passed away last year, was huge, very instrumental in terms of guiding me and just dropping nuggets. Whenever I needed it. His name was Lalo Mendoza. He coached at Bourbon Day High School in Watts. That's where I went to high school. And I always leaned on him for just for any kind of guidance that I needed. And he was always straightforward. He shot me straight, and honest about anything I asked him about. I had my dad. My father was in there with me, and then when I got to college, I had a coach in Joe Cap who who believed in me and shoot, he kept me encouraged. Whenever I was down in college, and he was always somebody that I looked up to. Um, I had him. I had my other coaches, and then when I got into the league, I was always I was fortunate to be around some great coaches.
Mm-hmm.
I played. I started out playing for Chuck Noll, and
Come on, you start at the top.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you
that's
start out at the top.
good as it gets. And the thing I learned from Chuck Noll was he was a four-time Super Bowl champion. Um, the Steelers in the '70s, they had a run. Shoot, they missed going to 6 straight Super Bowls just by a couple plays. You
Yeah.
know, um, so it was man, I was you talking about eyes wide open and ears wide open, listen to everything coach had to say. But the thing I learned from him was just how you had to pay attention to the details, the
Mm.
details, the details, the details, and the fundamentals of, and that's carried over into everything. I think,
Yeah. There you go.
and then I've been around, had Tony Dungy as a head coach, had Tom Coughlin as a head coach. The defensive coordinators were always great. Been around some good ones, and Monty Kiffin and Dom Capers. Shoot. Um, so I've had the good fortune, man.
I
Bill
love it.
Cowher was a coach I've been around, and Marvin Lewis was a linebackers coach of mine. So I've been around a lot of good coaches, and for me is yeah, I just kind of taking the other coaches have just been taking little bits, but you know when it's all at the end of the day, it started with my high school football coach,
Love it.
Mm.
and
Hey,
That's
that's
cool.
where
so
that's where
Hardy,
it was.
I'm gonna shoot you the football questions now.
Okay.
Shoot you some
See,
good football
I'm trying to
questions
get
now.
I'm trying to get to the inside scoop, and get
I'm
behind the
that's what.
story.
Well, we'll get to that, but I want to shoot you the who was your favorite teammate to play with?
Oh Lord, no, don't start no trouble now. Come on now, this is recorded and it's live. Don't. Oh my God.
My favorite teammate,
Yes.
man, I got a couple of them, man. But my favorite teammate was a guy that we were drafted together. First we played in the Hula Bowl together after our senior years of college, right? And yeah, let me preface this. I got a couple of them.
See,
All
there
right.
he go. There
One,
he go. Clean it up. Go ahead, clean it up.
yeah, so really, one I played in the Hula Bowl with. We were drafted by the same team, and he was a safety. I was a linebacker. It's Thomas Everett. He one of the greatest college defensive backs in college football history. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame, two-time uh, All-American. He might have even been a two-time. Um, Man, I forget the award that goes to the top defensive back in the country. I think he won that twice.
Mm.
But,
Mm-hmm.
but that was my guy, man. I had some other great teammates in college. My nose tackle, his name was Majette Whiteside. This dude was a baller. He was a baller. I mean, and I wouldn't have made, and I made 500 some odd tackles in college. Well, shoot, he's probably responsible for at least 400 of them because the way he took up offensive linemen, and I was able to run downhill and make tackles, man. Shoot. But yeah, man, yeah. So my man Thomas was a Thorpe Award. He might have been a two-time Thorpe Award winner. So those two guys, man, they're probably and then yeah, I hate to, it's hard to say the favorite, because some of the other guys I grew up with, in terms as a player. Um,
Mm.
Rob Woodson was another great teammate of mine. Shoot. Another linebacker that I played with in Pittsburgh, his name was David Little. He was a great teammate.
Oh yeah.
I've had some great teammates, man. I've had some really good teammates.
That's cool. So hold on. No, I know you're probably going to ask the follow-up question, but I'm just going to give us some shots out because you mentioned about the Thorpe Award, and we were at the Super Bowl. Martell and I, we were at the last Super Bowl, and we got to meet the Thorpe family.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So so that was an honor and a privilege just to be in the same room with them. So that's pretty cool right there. That's pretty. You gonna ask him who his worst teammate is, aren't you?
No. I don't want to put him on blast. I don't want to put him on blast.
You gonna ask him that? Listen, man. The man, he's still employed. Don't mess with the.
No, I ain't gonna do that to him. I ain't gonna do that. All right.
Okay.
Toughest offensive line you had to face, and I think I know who it is. But go ahead.
Toughest offensive lineman, man. Yep. Hands down, Bruce Matthews. Woo-wee.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I thought you were gonna say Larry Allen.
Well, Larry. I played against Larry, but Bruce Matthews.
Woo-wee. Oh, no, Bruce Matthews is like a grown man. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah. You said woo-wee twice.
Listen, I just pulled him up. Bruce Matthews is like a grown man, man. Listen, okay.
Yeah. He was grown and ingrown.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Toughest running back.
Toughest running back?
Yep.
Oh man. Well, okay. So there's a difference here, right? Okay.
Because this question is already in the comments. Just so you know, we're gonna preface it right there. This question is already in the comments.
You asked me who was the toughest. Now I played against a tough, like run you over and then run you over again and run you over again. Right? And then there's a the most elusive. All right, so the toughest running back I played against was a dude named Kevin Mack. He played for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
I played for the Steelers. They were the rivals. Man, there was one game when Kevin Mack just about ran over everybody on the defense. We had somebody hit him in the backfield. It should have been like a tackle for loss. Boom, ran him over. Then he hit the outside, ran over defensive end. Boom. Then he got cut back, ran over safety. Boom. Then he ran over a couple of us linebackers. Boom. If he hadn't tripped on the shoestrings, he would have scored, right?
Man, tripped on
that play. This dude was so tough. When he retired during training camp one of those years, and so we're in the locker room getting dressed for a training camp practice, and we heard that I think it came on a ticker on ESPN that he retired. We were like, yeah. You think we won a Super Bowl, man?
We ain't got to tackle him no more.
Oh, that dude was tough, man.
Okay. Who was the most elusive?
James Kevin Mack. Okay.
Who was the most elusive?
Barry Sanders, without a doubt. Barry Sanders. He make you miss in the phone booth. It was crazy. It was ridiculous.
Now I'll put you on the spot.
See, there we go. We knew it was coming. We knew it was coming.
That you went against.
Top 5 running backs?
Yeah.
Ooh, wee. Man, okay. Okay, top 5 running backs. Barry Sanders. Thurman Thomas. Marshall Faulk. I played against Marshall Faulk a couple times, but the first time we played against him, his rookie year, they played him at literally every position. He was at running back, he was at slot receiver, He played the wide out. He was all over the field. He was these linebackers wanted. He was giving me a fit 1-on-1, trying to cover him. Then they split him out, and our quarterback couldn't even cover him.
Wow.
It was crazy. It was ridiculous. All right, so that's 3, right? Let me see here. Who else gave us a fit? Jamal Anderson was rough.
Yeah.
Boy,
Okay.
Atlanta.
Okay. Yeah.
He was good. And let me think here. Yeah. Toughest ones. Then I probably have to throw in Kevin Mack just because he was running over everybody. He was punishing.
No.
Okay.
No ED. No Eric Dickerson.
See, I played against Eric late in his career.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about dudes that I played against that was just like
absolutely.
Couldn't do nothing with them. Yeah.
All right, let's go to
well, okay. So let me ask this before you ask that one, because I want to ask one of these questions that's in the comments. I'm gonna get to. But do you know, or did you play with Irvin Fryer? Irvin Fryer is a friend of the show, and he was a wideout for the Eagles. Okay. Just in case he's watching, maybe see if you had to talk some trash about him.
Yeah, Irvin was. I played against Irvin when he was with the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
Yeah, just one time. Yeah, that was
it.
Quarterbacks. Hey, tell me about them quarterbacks. Who's the toughest quarterback you played against?
Man, the toughest, the baddest quarterback, and man, Joe Montana.
Woo!
Joe Montana, man. My first year down in Tampa, we played them opening day, and man, I had never played against a quarterback that it felt like he was just performing surgery on us. He was hitting every pass. He was hitting every pass, every route. I don't think he threw an incompletion that day. Man, that dude, he was just like, and every pass, the receivers were catching it like they ain't have to do nothing but just put their hands up, and everything was in stride.
Wow.
I feel like we were on the operating table, and he was just
Joe knew your playbook. Joe,
he was carving us up, man. Golly, wow.
That's crazy because Joe don't get enough. Joe don't get enough respect because he was great. People just don't understand how great Joe Montana was.
Oh man, Joe was off the hook, man.
Mm-hmm.
He was hook good.
So you get accolades from that statement right there.
Because I know our show's gonna be over in a little bit. We're gonna go post football now. I want you to kind of dive into this one a little bit. We always hear about the players' financial situations, right? From your perspective, us as common fans, how do they get in them situations? They make all this money, or at least they say on TV, he's made $25 million and now he's broke. Can you explain to people or explain to our fans, how did that possibly happen? I know bad investments are, but we see it only from our eyes. I want to see it from a former player eyes. How does that kind of happen so they can get a better perspective?
Well, okay. So first off, the taxes on the money is like 50%.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say, for example, I get $10 million, it's automatically down to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And now if I splurge just a little bit, right? I buy a house. A house now is $1 million.
Yep.
Now it kicks me down to, and then property taxes, all that kicks me down. So that 10 went to 5. I buy a house. A house is $1 million now. All right. And then property taxes, that probably gonna kick it down to like $3.5 million. All right. Um, you have, let's say you have you have a year like 2008 when you had the market crash, right? Ooh, that put the hurt. That hurts now, right? That knocks that
Mhm.
3.5 you got in there down to who knows what, down to 1 million.
Mhm.
All right,
And-
then you buy a couple cars, that kicks it down to 750,
Mhm.
and then you're trying to live. You go on a couple of nice vacations, man, that's down to 655, maybe 500, and all of a sudden the money's gone.
Yeah.
My
Oh, not to
goodness.
mention the agent's fee, right?
Oof.
Your agent got his little fee too.
Yep, got to
Yeah.
pay your agent 3%.
And he gets
So the
paid on the
agent
10 million, not the 5.
3% of 10 million, not 3%
Yeah.
of 5 million.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you factor that in, then money's gone. It's just gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it happens.
I think players get a bad rap, especially when, like, I don't want to put it. I mean, well, Clinton Portis, he's made his story public. How Clinton Portis lost a lot of his money in this situation, and I think people give them a bad rap, like they think those guys are just irresponsible, or they just don't know what they're doing, or they just reckless with their money. And it's not that. I think one, they don't have the financial literacy part, especially. I think the NFL introduces it, and then they go away from it. They basically say you're on your own to kind of do it, and then. There's thieves, right? People steal money from them. You have all this money, you're not counting for everything that's going on, so it gets stolen. And then on top of that, bad investments, and then like you said, the house market crashes, and all these things kind of bubble around. And you as a player, when you're playing, you don't think the well's going to end, right? You think it's going to keep coming until that day until it ends.
Right.
So you have a $35 million lifestyle, and you ain't making $35 million no more. You're not making anything anymore. There's no money coming in. I think they get a bad rap. They get a very bad rap for losing their money. And I just think they have we just don't, we tend not to empathize, right? Because we don't understand what's really going on. And there's a lot going on in the back end for a lot of these players.
Oh yeah. And then you have people that are just, like you mentioned, ripping them off, man, it's tough seas to navigate.
Yeah.
And the more money you have, the bigger the waves, the rougher the seas, and it's something that I think the thing where it starts is education. Now we can blame the players for not being educated, but to me, I think the moment a student athlete steps on campus, I think that university is obligated to teach, um, you know, just some form of business, personal economics, balancing the books, teaching about taxes. That should be that should be the curriculum.
We've
Mm-hmm.
talked
Right?
about that a lot. Yeah.
College campus. All right, because you bringing these athletes in and you exploiting them. No, when I went to the number one public university in the world, in UC Berkeley. All right, but hey, they didn't teach me about you know um, taxes and how that works. They didn't teach me about that. I majored in sociology. I knew social theory when I left school, but as far as those practical things that you need, those tools that you need um, to help you make good financial decisions, that wasn't offered to me.
That's crazy.
Um, so I think it's on the universities, right? Just think
Yeah.
about it for a second. You bring these kids on campus, they make millions of dollars for the universities. The least they could do is teach just that little bit, the financial literacy, you know.
Yep.
But you got universities that are hung up on, oh, you have to have this GPA to get into the business program. You got to do this. Hey man, hey, teach these kids, teach them about that, right? You know, shoot. So yeah, I think that's where
important.
the the athletes are failed.
And I'm glad you said that. And Montel, I'll let you interject, but I also want to be cognizant of time and respectful to our comments here. I'm glad you took it that direction about the student athlete and the onus, because I was going to ask about onus on players versus onus on a university versus even onus on the league. And listen, again, we don't want you to get in trouble because we're gonna get you this bus. What we going so we don't want you saying nothing wrong about the alumni association. But again, I think you kind of answered it right. Where does that onus lie for, again, that 17, 18, 19, however year old, coming into money, not realizing that 10 million turns into 750,000 really fast, and not having someone in their corner, in their squad, part of their crew to help guide them in the right direction. Montel and I always talk about it. We break it down and say, you got to protect the bag. Right, so you got to protect the person who is out there doing the thing, and that's being around the right people. That's making sure that when you go out clubbing with your partners, that you don't get caught up in the wrong situation. You know when it's time to leave. That you don't go out and buy all the watches. You can go buy a couple of them, but you don't have to buy everybody a watch. Just that whole kind of conversation. So I wanted to put that question up from the comment, but I like where you went, putting the onus on the institution that all these athletes are going to as well.
Yeah,
well, we talked about it before, though. I'm sorry.
Just think about
Hardy,
for a second.
We talked about it before. How I feel that the universities should make every student athlete pass at least a financial literacy certificate every year while they're at that university collecting the check. It should be something that maybe Merrill Lynch or somebody has a class that shows them the basics of financial literacy, how to do it, how money works, how taxes work, and all that stuff. And they should have to pass that class in order to be eligible to play. Because if they do that 4 years in a row, something's going to stick. I have a hard time saying that a 16, 17-year-old going to get he gets a big NIL deal, he's going to splurge. That's him just not knowing. But I think if he's playing another year and another year, at some point it's going to stick with that money. He knows that money is going to run out. And hopefully he invests it wisely or saves it or whatever he needs to do. But that's not there. And coming from somewhere where you don't have anything, and somebody gives you a lot of money, $10,000 is a lot of money to somebody that has $0 in their pocket.
Yeah.
They don't understand. So can you imagine giving a kid now that has $0, $100,000 or $300,000 or $1 million? It's the same concept. They think it's everlasting. It's not going to run out. So I agree with you. I think universities now with the NIL is in place, they should have to pass a financial literacy certificate every year. They need to achieve that. All student athletes, football to all the way to golf, everybody.
I totally agree.
We gonna get this right. We gonna get this right.
And I think it also comes to it comes back to high school as well. I think whatever state a kid happens to be in, whatever level that they have NIL, that's gotta be part of the educational curriculum. So if they can receive NIL money in high school, then that should be part of the high school curriculum. And they should have credits that apply to college.
Wow, that's crazy. It's truth. It's coming, but God, that's just 15, 16-year-old. Wow, how fast it has gone. Because again, 3 years ago or whenever the day before the transfer portal opened, Montel and I were live, and we were talking about how this is going to shake up the world, and in only this 3 or 4 year time frame, now we got Hardy Nickerson Senior come in here talking about NIL conversations need to be happening at the high school level.
The high school level.
I'm not ready for that.
But he's right though, because it's so rapidly spreading down, and we're identifying these so-called super athletes at a young age that the money's there. I mean, there's Pop Warner kids that got commercial deals and offers. They're not committable offers, but they're getting offers and getting all this publicity just based off of being in Pop Warner or being young or being supposedly a young phenom. Whether they pan out or not, that's here to say, but they're getting money already. So the state of Florida has already said, you can pay your high school players. You can pay them. So if that's you got to think, everybody's going to follow suit at some point. Texas is going to be probably the next big one. And then after that will be California, because those are the three biggest football states. Then it'll come Ohio. But that's going to spread. And with that being spread, I think if a kid is getting hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars, I think Hardy's right. We need to eliminate some of those curriculum. And I hope NCAA makes it part of clearinghouse. This is, hey, you need to offer financial literacy classes for them to take to make them a part of clearinghouse, instead of having them have to take something that's, take that extra science class or take that extra foreign language class or something. Make them take those classes instead and put that part of the clearinghouse to make sure all kids go through it. I think if they do that, then they'll have something. But I don't know. I mean, we don't know how this is all going to go. We're treading already new territory now with the high school kids getting NIL. We thought college was going to be a big deal. High school's even going to be something even more strange, and how to manage it.
All right.
Just imagine this. I can only imagine, myself in high school. If somebody gave me $100,000, right, and I had an NIL deal my senior year of high school, I got $100,000. Man, I would have spent that money so fast. Yeah, and then what they don't tell you is you got to pay taxes on that. So I would have got that money, right? I wouldn't even, taxes? Who would have been thinking about taxes? I've been out having but hey, it's a good time, man. Whether it's a good time or using the money to, help my parents or however, man. But, there has to be some type of literacy, man, because it's just, that's a bomb waiting to go off.
That's why we got you. That's why we got you doing what you do. Go ahead, Monte, because I got two questions that I want to ask, but I'll leave them for the.
This will be my last one, and then you can go ahead and shoot your shots. So, Hardy, with that being said, a senior is making $100,000 on your team. How do you manage that? Because he's making more money than the coaches. How do you combat that attitude with a player?
You know what? I think the only thing you can do is, I think in that process of getting to the stage where they have earned that money, that you, as a coach, that you formed a relationship with the kid to where there's a trust and respect, and I think it's important to that word respect is really big, because I think it's important that that is part of the relationship between the player and the coach, and understanding that there's a standard, and teaching them that it's teachable moments, no matter if they have money or not, right? And they're making more money than their teachers and the coaches and even the principal. But just simple things that carry over into every aspect of life, and that is, man, that part about respecting the people that are helping them, that have helped them get to that point, and respecting the fact that they got that money because they participate in a great game. You know,
Mhm.
don't disrespect the game by just, oh man, I'm out. I'm not. You know, football's unlike any other sport in that everything's correlated. Like, receivers ain't catching the ball if you ain't got no line. If the line ain't blocking, quarterback can't pass it, can't get it to the star receiver. They can't hand it off to the running back, goes nowhere. Everything is interrelated. Defensively, everybody's relying on the next guy to get their responsibility. You know, so from my point of view, my standpoint, what I do is I try to form that relationship with the kids, a respect, um, so that I don't care how much money they have, they know that I'm gonna be that person that when they pick up the phone, because they can pick up the phone and holler at me about anything, I'm gonna shoot them straight no matter what.
Wow.
That's just me.
That's real talk right
That's how
there.
I'm rolling with them.
That's,
And I'm gonna
see,
get right. I'm gonna tell them, hey, they get that money. Hey, you know what? You're gonna have to pay taxes, bro. So don't spend it all.
yeah,
You,
yeah.
There you go.
you better not
And if
spend over
you in
half of it.
California, 30-some%, right? Listen, right? Well,
Yeah. My thing is, hey, you better not spend over half of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make sure folks know about that. That's gonna be all over the internet in about 2 hours, Coach. So and I'm gonna be tagging you on that line right there. But so what you said kind of goes in line with this last question that came from the audience that I want to ask you. Looking at today's game versus looking at your game, my initial question was, why did you choose defense versus defense versus offense? Why did you choose that, or did you always play linebacker, or did you start out on the other side of the ball, or what?
Oh, so this is a good story. It's a long story, but it's a good story. I'll try
Bro,
to keep it
we got
short.
all your time. Listen, we got
So,
unlimited tape.
so here's how my football life started. All right, I've been bugging my parents about playing football for the longest, and then when I was about 13, they decided to let me play. So my dad took me to over to Athens Park in Los Angeles, and they had tryouts. So I, did the conditioning for 2 days, and then they said, hey, okay, we got to break y'all up into positions. And initially I wanted to play like running back or wide receiver, but the coach there, there were about 150 kids out there, maybe even more. But the coach said, okay, everybody want to play wide receiver. All right, raise your hand. And all these dudes raised their hand, right? And then he told them to move over to one side, right? A ton of kids, right? Oh, everybody want to play running back. Raise your hand. All these kids raise their hand. So I'm looking around. I'm like, man, okay, huh. Then he got to the offensive line, and so they were gonna have cuts,
Yeah.
right? So this is my first time ever playing first year playing football, contact football. Now I played like flag football at the park and all that, or played sandlot, whatnot. Um, but so coach said, hey, okay, all right, everybody want to play center, raise your hand. I looked around, there were no hands up, so I put
Oh,
my
have
hand
mercy.
up. So I started playing offensive center. All
Wow.
right. But I was a bad dude at offensive center now. Um, and then so I played center um, for 2 years at at Athens Park for Athens Park Packers, and then I went over. So my father sent me to Bourbon Day High School, and so my freshman and sophomore year I played offensive center for freshman team, and then my sophomore year I made varsity at center, and I started. And then before my junior year, I went to offense defense football camp. And so when you at the camp, they had all these. I didn't know what was going on, but they had pros there, pro football players like Ed Too Tall Jones, Tony Dorsett. All these guys were at this camp, and they had a bunch of college coaches at the camp. And so I get to the camp. The first day we did offense in the morning, and we did defense in the afternoon. Then at the end of the day, the camp coordinator pulled everybody up, said, "Hey, okay, tomorrow you go to whatever position you choose. You decide on what position you want to play, and that's what you're gonna play for the rest of the camp." So I decided at that point, I went back to my room that night because it was sleepover camp. I went back to my room that night and I said, "Man," I was thinking to myself, I said, "I'm gonna play center when I get back to school, so I'm gonna play linebacker here." So I played linebacker, and the next morning, got up, I went with the linebackers, went through all the drills, all this stuff, and the linebacker coach at that camp was a linebackers coach at USC.
Wow.
Right. So I go there, I'm doing the drills and all that, moving in, boom, boom, boom. And then once we got done with like our individual period, he started pointing out guys and telling them, "Okay, you're going team one, you're going team two, you go team one." And he points to me, "Oh yeah, you go over here with team one." I didn't know team one was a prospect dudes. Right?
You had made the cut already.
So I'm like, oh shoot. So I get in the huddle. We go from individual, then we go on. It's all the prospect dudes, right? And so we're going 9-on-7, and they ran a lead play at me. Boom, I ran in there. Boom, knocked it out. I closed. I did the thing you shouldn't do. I ran in there so hard. I ran as hard as I could. I hit the fullback, closed my eyes, hit him. All I could feel was, I felt like bam, bam, bam. Just like 3 hits in a row. I hit the fullback, knocked him back into the halfback, and knocked them both over, right? Everybody on the head. So that's how I started playing linebacker. Then so I did so well that I earned like one of the awards. They only gave out 2 awards at every level. They gave out camp MVP and they gave out most improved player. So my buddy from my high school, he was a highly recruited like safety. Dude was ridiculous. 6'2", ran 4.5. He was ridiculous. He was a man child. But anyway, so he won MVP and I was most improved. So when I got back to my high school and for practice and all that, the coaches they got word and they saw me at camp, so they were like, "Oh shoot!" When I got back to school, they said, "Hardy, get in there, inside linebacker." And shoot, I was tearing it up, man. I was tearing it up. And that's how I ended up playing.
Now you know the rest of the story, boy. This man, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. Because I was going to ask you, along with that, your perspective of today's linebacker, right? A perspective of what you see today, if there's anything that you like, dislike, or, just that kind of thing. With today's game versus when you were playing as well, based off of this question that came in. But
it's a different game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a totally different game, man. Shoot, you can't horse collar tackles. Those are kind of routines, routine tackles, right? Hip drag down tackles. You did that sometimes. But for the most part, it was like, I'm gonna try to knock you out. You can't do that now. I used to try to, it was football to me. It was like football was like survival of the fittest. It was this tough, shoot, I'm gonna hit you so hard, you ain't gonna want to even think about running my way. And if you do, you're gonna go down before I even get there.
You're gonna learn today. I tell you what. So we got to have. So Montel, I mean, you got to chip in some, call in some chips or some points or something. Because Coach, we got to get you back, man. Because there seems to be just some more depth to some of these stories that we got to get into. Plus, I want to talk about some of these awards next time too. I'm looking at all these awards, you know, and I'm trying to count them all. You got a whole bunch of them, and so we're gonna do that. Montel, take us home, man. Because again, I won't be kindness to the coach this time. He probably got to go get ready, get the playbook ready for the young cats coming in tomorrow. So,
absolutely. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Hardy coming on, being the guest, man. Really appreciate you, man. Good luck this season. Tell the wife I said hi, and all, you know, everybody else. And as we always go out, I think everyone out there, please be comfortable having uncomfortable conversations, because that's how we learn.
That's it. Coach Nickerson, thank you as well. Hey, listen, we're gonna be watching. What is it? The O'Dowd? You know, Montel, you wearing the O'Dowd shirt?
Bishop O'Dowd.
Bishop O'Dowd.
Yeah. Like Deion says at Colorado, we ain't hard to find. We Bishop O'Dowd, man.
See, okay, we had a question about Deion. You gonna bring that up? We again, we're gonna say that for next time. But I need to get one of them O'Dowd athletic shirts. Hold on, who we know over there on campus? Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone.
Montel representing the day. I see it. I see the
always. You know, you got to, coach.
Yes, sir.
Got to, coach. Got to.
That's it. Yes. Coach, appreciate you, Montel. Travel safe. Everyone, listen, if you like what we did, let us know. If you didn't like what we did, still let us know. Come back as we continue to build this Team No Sleep into its own entity, and we will see you next week for sure. We out.
Bringing the heat, Team No Sleep with champions meet. We're on the mic, taking over the game. No time for rest, no scrambling for fame. Talking sports, breaking it down from the court to the field. All around town, we stay up all night, grinding on the mic, bringing news, real stories on the fly. Montel's got the stats, James got the flow. Together we're the two and ready to blow. From NBA to NFL and the MLB, we got all the updates. Yeah, we're